So what does Spigen have to offer for the Fold 6? Well, quite a varied range actually. They got the Tough Armor and the Air Skin, the Ultra Hybrid and the 01 skin of that, and then finally the Slim Armor Pro. First up, the 01 Ultra Hybrid. Now this has been a favorite of mine, so I was very curious to see how these cases would hold up on the Fold 6 as well. It's a two-part design, and on the front part it has 4 support stickers with the usual long sticker on the thin left side. And for that tiny part, it's really necessary. But it's not all that necessary for the fit in general with this one, which is a good thing. On the back plate, no stickers, and that's great. This is one of those cases where you don't need the stickers for a secure fit. Now on the back you will of course find that unique design, but this time with a little less 3D effect to it, as it comes across more as a general image than a partly transparent case. The case does protect the hinge with its own hinge, which is spring-loaded, so it will always clamp back down, which is great. And it also has a slight rounding to it, which feels exactly like the phone itself. Now, the sides of the case are that smoke black transparent plastic, which looks awesome. The case feels very grippy, and since there's protection on every side, you will also feel at ease, knowing it will be quite difficult to damage it. The front bumper is more than enough, even though minimal in comparison to what I've seen so far, which is great because it allows for more freedom of movement on the screen itself. The USB-C cutout is great, symmetrical, and there's also not a lot of play on the case parts, which could jeopardize that. Now it has a complete cutout for the buttons and the fingerprint sensor, and all edges are rounded off or even sloped. So even though it has tons of corner protection, you won't notice it holding this case. A very refined case for sure. The case gets slightly thicker towards the camera bump, which is also a unique touch and protects the lenses. Finally, it also has a bump on the other side of the backplate, probably to even it out when laying it flat. Now, even though it has hinge protection, since it's not thick and it's spring-loaded, it's not easy to grab while holding the case. But you get a very beautiful case in return. Now, one thing I am very happy about is that they've not put a sticker over the SIM tray, which is an error that could have consequences for your phone. Now, the regular Ultra Hybrid has everything I just mentioned, but is completely clear, which feels grippier than the 01 edition, but that's the only difference I could spot. It does look very nice with a clear case too though, so if that's the look you're looking for, then I can really recommend this one, since that hinge design is so damn comfortable. We can also see the camera bump a little better here, but it's completely the same. Now, both of these come with extra stickers for if you lose strength on them or just want to replace them for whatever reason, which is awesome, and so far, the only company to do it. Now, the Slim Armor has a similar design as far as the overall shape goes, meaning the camera bump looks very similar. It also has that same bump on the backplate, and it even has the same spring-loaded hinge. Here though, they upgraded it with a rubbery textured material on there, which makes it very grippy to hold. They will still have that two-piece design, and yes, it does have stickers, but only on the thicker side, and 2 support ones at the top and bottom. Surprisingly, no sticker on that thin part, which is where you always see them. Now, after installing it, you can notice there's still a little bit of play there, but it surprised me how little there's left with the spring-loaded hinge pushing up against it. It's also very unnatural to hold it in any way where you would actually see that piece moving. Now, the front bumper also has sloped edges, which is great. It has about the same height as the Ultra Hybrids, but even those were more than enough. You can notice there is a difference in thickness though, as the sides are not higher but thicker. A little more bulky if you will. But it still doesn't feel like a bulky case. It's like the perfect blend. Full cutout for the buttons and enough of a slope towards the sensor to make it really comfortable to press. The sides are made of a unique material finish. It feels rubber-ish, although you can definitely feel it's plastic still, but it works out perfect. The backplate feels more like polycarbonate and feels very strong. On the inside of the case, you will find that shock absorbing material, which is that material you can push in and feels bouncy. But then the fit of this thing, just wow. This is probably the best fit I've ever seen for this phone. Great work. Moving on to the Tough Armor. This one is completely different in my opinion. It is made out of two pieces again with the same stickers as on the Slim Armor, meaning no sticker on that thin part. The fit is very good though, nothing to complain about that. The camera bump is pretty much non-existent though, only a very small plastic ring around it. Now, the feeling when you hold this case isn't great either, since the edges are all way too sharp and sort of cut into your hand a little. Now, the shape isn't doing it any favors here either, since the hinge is basically a huge block that's attached to it. It's not ergonomic at all, and rather it feels like it doesn't even belong there. Now, as for the reason as to why it's so thick, that has got to do with the fact that you can use it as a kickstand and also as a spot to store your S Pen in. Now, the kickstand feels strong enough, but there's still a little bit of wobble when you set it on your desk. Now, you can either use this thing vertically or you can use it horizontally. Now, since the hinge is so big, it's also an easy target to keep pushing around. And because it weighs a little more due to its size, it's also easy to push open. All in all, not the perfect set of conditions to say the least. It's once again a full cutout on the side for the buttons, and it makes use of a slope towards the sensor to make it more comfortable to use. Now, the front bumper features more than enough protection too, and the edges are sloped as well, which is great to see. Good USB-C cutout, and overall the material feels nice. It's just the sharp edges here and there that really make it uncomfortable to hold, and therefore I just don't like it. Finally, they also have something for the minimalists out there. This case is called the Air Skin. Now, this very thin case features a bigger camera bump than the Tough Armor, which doesn't make sense to me. Not that I dislike it per se, because when you're going for such a thin case, you at least want to make sure it doesn't scratch, since these very thin cases aren't really made for dropping anyway. There's also no hinge protection. I must say that the fit seems really good at first sight though. If you don't make use of the stickers, it's still somewhat decent. With stickers, the weaker areas seem to be corrected. They made it at least a little harder, whereas without the stickers, it will be just too easy to get the front piece off certain areas. The corners themselves seem to be pretty snug without stickers too. It does feature a little thicker piece on the front left, which is better in my opinion, and although very minimal, it still has a front bezel as well. There's still play on the sides as well, even with the stickers in use, which you will notice when opening up the fold. But the least thought out aspect seems to be the cutout for the buttons, where there's zero slope towards the fingerprint scanner, making it very awkward and weird to use. It works though, I can't say it doesn't, but it does make it an awkward experience. Now, as far as the texture goes on the Aramid, I cannot confirm what type of Aramid it is here, but it feels very smooth. No texture is feelable. There's also no sharp edges or things. Everything just feels smooth. Just got my doubts when it comes to the durability of the stickers in combination with the fit that pretty much needs it to function properly.